Hey, I'm Brooke Oliphant, owner of Straight Up Sales Orthodontic Coaching, and in this podcast, we are talking about 3 tips for transforming your treatment coordinator into a rock star. So happy that you're here with us.
Orthomarketing.com, 360-degree digital marketing solutions for your practice.
Well, hello, everybody in podcast land. I'm Dean Steinman from Ortho Marketing, and we are back with another awesome podcast for you. And today I am very excited to have a special guest with me. We have with us one of the most important and influential treatment coordinator, consultants, trainers in the industry. I have Brooke Oliphant with me. And hopefully I pronounced that correctly there too.
Yes.
Brooke. All right. So thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure.
We're very excited to have you talk a little bit about the process and what you do. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about how to turn your treatment coordinator into a rock star. So let's back up a little bit. Tell us, who is Brooke and what do you do?
Well, like you said, I own Straight Up Sales Orthodontic Coaching, which is a consultant and treatment coordinating training service. So I partner with practices to help in goal setting, to understand the doctor's growth vision, and then work very closely with the treatment coordinators in how to design a sales process that just makes them fall in love with their job all over again, that elevates success, that gives an amazing experience to the clients, that sets them apart in their market so that there is no competition. So I get to be kind of a bridge between the doctor and the treatment coordinator, and then just partner with the practice, really meet them in their moment, and then discover how to be better. So it's not about being like me, and it's not about doing it. It's not scripting, and it's just really I'm joining, and then in a very custom, high-touch way, helping people discover their superpowers, right? So to be a rock star, to be incredible means that it's personal, that it's your own passion. And so that's what I get to do with people.
Oh, that's awesome. A lot of people don't realize that every time I speak to a practice, I say, what business are you in? And like, we're orthodontists, we're braces. No, we're in the smile business. That's what I like to think of. I'm a karma guy at heart. I love, if you make somebody smile, if you can make somebody smile every day, it's like you are successful. And, and your job obviously is to teach them, from my perspective as, a marketing company, our job is to get people in the seats, all right, show up. But then from there, obviously that's where the fun begins.
Practice. It's magic.
Exactly. So walk me through. So we're going to talk about, 3 tips on transforming, your TC. So what is the first thing a practice could do today? Okay. Obviously, besides hire you, what's the first thing they could do today to start that transformation?
It's a foundation in sales confidence. Okay. So what I discover with treatment coordinators is a timidness, almost this belief that because they're likable and friendly and they can make people feel comfortable and welcome, that that's good enough. And it really is going beyond that. So some of it is empowering the treatment coordinator. So it could come from leadership of you are in the right seat and we believe in your decision making. So you need to split this down payment into 2. That's fine. You have that authority without stepping out of the room. The second a treatment coordinator has to leave the consultation to ask a doctor, ask an office manager for permission, they are devalued. From the customer perspective, they're like, oh, well, then what else can you get permission for?
Right.
Like, what else can we deviate?
You're at a car dealership, well, let me go check that manager and be back and forth. You feel like you're getting ripped off,
It's so tacky. So if the treatment coordinator is working really hard to earn trust, to give this amazing experience, and then they have to step out to go ask permission, that trust is broken. Their authority is devalued. So tip number 1.
Okay. Now let's talk about that. So typically, would to give that person autonomy to close the sale?
Yes.
Obviously, the doctor needs to have an ongoing relationship with their TC and have boundaries of how low they could go. Because most people, price is the biggest issue across the board.
Sure.
We'll talk about that in a bit and how to overcome that.
Yeah.
But, so obviously the TC has to know what the bottom line is of what they can do or how much they could, or how far they could go out. A lot of people don't want to expend financing too much, because then if the financing goes out 4 years and they're done with 2 years, we're stopping them. They could stop paying you.
I know, but statistically that doesn't happen. That doesn't happen often enough to not do it, at least for some people. Yes.
Well, and obviously you need to look at your bottom line and see what you're charging and where you are in the market there. So, what percentage of TCs actually have this autonomy, you think, before they are transformed? Do they have to keep going back and asking this, or do you think right now majority do? Because, that's going to be his first tip, guys, is one, is give your TC the power to make the sale with you being on the same page with them.
Yes.
So, how much room do they think they have? Is wiggle room? And do they even know what the bottom line is? How transparent do the practice have to be?
No, I think a lot of times the treatment coordinators don't know. So that's kind of my second tip, is that they need to understand, where do the goals come from? I talk to practices that are doing well enough, or some of them are doing very well. They don't have clear-cut goals. They're not even tracking their conversion rate in a way where the treatment coordinator truly knows where they stand, like even compared to the rest of the industry. So then what are we going to move and shift and change that's going to create that elevated level of success? A lot of times they don't even know, right? So orthodontic practices, you're in your little bubble, you're doing things the way that you've always done them, you're doing them the way that it was passed down to you. Is it the best way? Oftentimes not, but you don't know, because you don't have another perspective. So that's what's fun for me, is that I get to come in and say, why are you doing it this way? They're like, oh, I don't know. It's just what we do. I'm like, okay, well, other places do it like this, or I've seen this work. Do you want to try something different?
So by empowering them and being transparent and being on the same page and letting them know your goals is real important. How often should your goals be looked at? Do we're charging, $6,500 and that's what we're doing, and blah, blah, blah. But the guy on the street is charging $5,900, direct consumer is charging $3,500. So, how do you work with that when it comes to pricing?
So your price should be a reflection of the experience that you're delivering, your skill set. There isn't any competition. Like, I love it when I tell my treatment coordinators, well, we're $500 or $1,000 more than the guy down the street. Like, who cares? What they get with you is different. Like, it's not comparable. So if someone is really getting to the end of a consultation, if your prospect is really caught up on $500, my belief is that you didn't earn their trust. They don't believe that you can do for them any better or any differently than their other price quote. And so it's just about the numbers. Where when you deliver an experience and instill trust and confidence, and they're so bought in that they want to work with you before you even talk about the money, then that's just crossing T's and dotting I's.
How do you get them to buy in, the prospective patient, to forget about even to throw price out the window? How do you get them to realize this is the place to go? You could. So I tell my clients all the time, you could crow to the cows come home how great you are.
Yeah.
But how do you go past that? Because she could say, we're great. We're going to give you the best smile, but everybody will do that. So how do you gain the confidence, or instill confidence in the person sitting in the chair in order for them to say, yeah, I love you guys?
It's funny. It's actually by talking less. It's asking more questions and then inviting them to share what it is that they want, or what it is that they see about their smile. What does it mean for them to make this change? If a parent really wants to give this to their child because it's not something they got to have as a child, or if an adult wants to do the treatment for themselves and it's something that they've been anticipating or looking forward to for years, there's a self-confidence element there. And what does it mean in their life to accomplish that? And so the more that you're inviting them to share, and then you're answering with validation. Oh, I get that. Like, I'm so happy that you're here. We're going to accomplish that and even more as our patient. But you earn trust really by people feeling heard and validated much more than being talked at. So I think In the orthodontic sales process within consultations over, let's say the arc of time, right? It's about the
Right.
doctor's authority, a live treatment planning, and just an overwhelming amount of information. And it's like you're just throwing things at the wall, hoping that something sticks, that it's the thing that they need to hear to pick you.
Right.
And that's overwhelming. And I think that can make your prospect feel like you're trying to fit them into a box or they're being sold to.
Right.
Where the more questions you ask, then the information that you're providing is specific to their want, need, desire, and concerns.
Mm-hmm.
And it becomes much more personal. And that's how you earn that buy-in before you're talking about money.
How do you feel about when you consult and position a practice in the market with pricing as well? Do you kind of coach them on here's what the best way to position it, or do you think, okay, let's find the 5 competitors and come right in the middle? Do you prefer to go in the middle, the low, the high? Because I always use an analogy that if you're traveling and you go to Restaurant Row and you see 4 restaurants and one and you steak, big sign outside, steak $9.99, steak $9.99, steak $99.99, steak $39.99. Which one are you going to?
Right.
So, and I kind of, talk, my practice isn't, if you don't ask, you don't get. So try being the most expensive, see what happens. So how do you feel about that as far as, positioning and pricing?
So there are practices I think that kind of boils down to even the doctor's mission, like the reason for being an orthodontist. So I've worked with practices where their price point is very affordable in the market.
Right.
And they're not really looking to increase the amount per start because they really want to service a group of people that couldn't afford more. So that's kind of where the passion and the interest is. And so then it's how do you still deliver an experience that converts at a really high level? Because if those people are going to shop around a lot within their price point, within their comfort zone, then still creating an experience that earns trust and earns that same day commitment is the same kind of challenge really at any price point. So I have definitely recommended to doctors to increase their prices.
100%.
Like you're not charging enough to match the experience. So sometimes there's that too. If people are just blown away and then you give them the price and they go, what's wrong here?
Right.
Like, why is this so affordable or below all of my other price quotes, but it seems like it's the best? So you have to make sure that you're charging to match the experience that you're delivering. But then I have other practices that have built these gorgeous new offices and they'll hear the patients walk through the front door and go, oh, this is more than I can afford.
Right.
So you have this immediate customer reaction of like, wow, this is incredible, but maybe not for me, right? And so then the treatment coordinator has a different journey to take their customer through to say, yes, this is a state-of-the-art facility. We're so happy that you're here with us. We also want you to know that we still are competitive in the market with affordable monthly pricing.
What's one question that you could recommend somebody to ask when somebody comes into the office and they're a price shopper? Because, there are different levels when it comes to patient acquisition. And, if they came from a referring doctor, that's a very good lead.
It is.
Or someone does a Google search or found you through a Facebook ad or whatever it is, they're potential shoppers or tire kickers or, so what's one tip or one question that, because you said before, it's important to keep asking questions. So what's the one question you could put in the back of somebody's mind right now to ask today during the consult that you think might push somebody over the edge to say, yeah, I'll start with one question?
Okay. So I'll premise it by saying that my recommendation is that there is an office tour for every new patient that is treated as a walk and talk, not just you're in the lobby and now here's the clinic and here's our fancy x-ray machine and whatever, but that while you're walking, you're starting assuming language. So you're asking, is this something you've been looking forward to doing for a while? Is this something that kind of just came to your mind and you called to schedule. So you're understanding right away, how much does this potentially mean to them? And then you're like, well, assuming that you love us and the treatment recommendation is ideal for you and the financial options fit your expectations, we have an opportunity to get you started today.
Yes.
And then you see their reaction. They're like, oh, no, I'm just gathering information. Or, well, that'll depend on how much it costs. Or you're the first of 3 appointments that I've scheduled. Whatever you learn in that moment, you're still on a tour of the office and you know exactly where they're at. Right. And so that gives the treatment coordinator then so much information for where to go next. And if someone does say, oh, it's about price, then waiting until the end of the consultation to discuss cost means that they're not going to be bought in to the whole rest of your process, because everything is going to seem too good to be true and too expensive and not something that they can do. So you do have to then address cost concerns at the very beginning, even if it's in general. We do in-house financing. It's 0%. You get to pick your down payment. You get to pick your monthly payments. We have extended financing options. We really pride ourselves in being affordable. So my hope is to help you come up with a financial plan that fits your needs so that you're able to get started.
One last question. So when somebody is obviously thinking of bringing on somebody like you to train their TC and staff, what's the one question they should ask in the back of their mind to themselves to see, oh yeah, this is something that I need? What's the one thing that's going to stand out for them to move it? Because I quote all the time, I'm a big movie buff, and I quote the movie Moneyball, and Billy Bean, Brad Pitt says, adapt or die. And I use that in all of my marketing, because if you don't adapt your practice to technologies, adapt to new times, adapt to everything, you're dead. So what's one thing that a doctor should ask themselves today to make them adapt to say, okay, I got to do this? So what's the one question they should ask themselves right now, and based upon their answer is like, wow, I need help.
So I like to think of it kind of like you, like this adapting. There's an evolution. There's an evolution within orthodontics. Like aligners can do the same as braces. That didn't used to be the case. And thank goodness braces have evolved over time, because they used to be huge and uncomfortable, and treatment used to take 4 years that can now take a year or a year and a half. Same with x-ray machines. And so the industry is always evolving in ways that are a better treatment experience, a better treatment outcome, better clinically. It's a more ideal experience for the team members and for the patients. But where's the evolution on the sales side? Like, it's not very long ago that there were still most of the industry saying that the treatment coordinator is not really a sales position, because we're medical or we're here to help people. And so it's taken a long time to even get to a place where most will acknowledge that the treatment coordinator is a sales position. And I like to say that position is kind of internally outsourced. The doctor shows up for a very small period of time in that appointment. So if it's 95% the treatment coordinator's responsibility to move someone from shopper to buyer, then that experience needs to evolve with the ways in which people shop and the information that they have at their fingertips, and really just to match all of the other ways that the industry has changed that we love.
Well, great. All right. So, thanks so much. This has been really insightful. Guys, everybody, you have to realize, if you're listening to this, or if you're an orthodontist, and you're offering, orthodontic treatment, all right, you have to have the right process in place. All about processes. All right, and you have to have the right training in place. Things are always adapting and moving. So hopefully you learned a few tips from here. If somebody wants to get more information from you, learn a little bit more about what you could do, what's the best way for them to do so?
My website is straightupsales.com. And that's a nice conversation, answers some questions, and then just fill out the form. Basically introduce yourself. And then I'll reach out with additional information, start a conversation.
Oh, great. Thanks so much. Everybody at Podcast Land, thanks so much for being part of our community here. We love being able to bring you great guests like Brooke. And please reach out to her if you need help. And I'm sure you do, because every practice, unless you're at 100% close, and I never met a practice at that.
I want to meet you if you are.
Exactly. And even if you are, I want to meet you. Exactly.
Yes.
I'll pick you out for any lunch you want and dinner. I want to pick your brain. So, Brooke, thanks so much. I appreciate it. Everybody,
Thank you,
thanks
Dean.
so much for listening. And everybody, be happy, be smiles, and keep on keeping on. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Orthomarketing.com. 360-degree digital marketing solutions for your practice.